picture the scene. You're a founder of a startup company and you've gone for SEIS, Seed Enterprise Investment Scheme, advanced assurance with HMRC, and they knock you back. Then you go through with the compliance statements and then knock you back again. But don't give up is the message from this video, because in the end, the company did get it through HMRC and they did get the compliance statements and they did get the SEIS relief for their investors. So they can move forward now with SEIS and hopefully for EIS in the future. So what actually happened? Well, they put their submission in for advanced assurance. I wasn't involved in the actual initial preparation of it. They used another platform, if you like, and there was some difficulty around. I think the company was aware that there was quite a complexity, should we say, around the fact that there was already a company in existence which did a similar kind of trade. There were some important distinctions. We'll come on to that in a moment, but there was some crossover directors, etc. So there was, a clear rationale for HMRC challenging it. It wasn't a surprise, shall we say. So they did. HMRC responded and said, no, we're not willing to give you advance assurance on the basis that we believe there are disqualifying arrangements being in the existence of this other trade, and it could have been carried on through that business. Now, that other company was out of time for SEIS. It'd been trading for 4 or 5 years, so it was out of scope for SEIS. So in HMRC's eyes, I think that's very convenient. You started again in a new code, which isn't allowed under the rules. Fair enough. Now, there were some important distinctions, and I can't go into them specifically, but there were like commercial reasons why it was set up separately. And we put together quite a comprehensive response in relation to the differentiating factors as to why it was a new trade and fell within the rules of SEIS and was a qualifying trade. Unfortunately, the relevant advisors platform who were helping the company with advanced assurance didn't send the letter to HMRC. So HMRC came back again and said, we don't see the difference of what we said previously. You're not having it. We don't think it qualifies. And we wash our hands of it here, because they only tend to respond once or twice on an advanced assurance. It's up to you whether you want to go for advanced assurance. At this stage, we can't give you our blessing that it's a compliant company for SES purposes. However, you feel free to go ahead and put in your compliance statements later on, and we'll have another look at that stage. So difficult position with the company, a lot of head scratching, a lot of almost tears, I suppose. But they informed the investors, and the investors were happy to take the risk. Still believe they had a case, obviously taking professional advice myself. And although, I have to put my caveats around it, I said, I think you've been unlucky here. I think the way the facts fell in terms of them not getting your letter with a full response hasn't helped here. And I do believe you have got a legitimate case. So knowing full well that it might not get through HMRC for the SES, the investors put the cash in, and then we get to the stage where they put the compliance statements in. So when you put your compliance statement in, basically HMRC take another look at the company again. Obviously, one of the questions on the compliance statement is, have you got advance assurance for this? And obviously the company had to put no. The letter goes in, HMRC obviously look back at their files and go, oh, hey, this is one we rejected. So initial response was, unsurprisingly, a rejection again. But to be fair to HMRC, they normally do ask questions, clarifying questions, to sort of see if there's a way that that they're missing anything. Anyway, I worked with the founders to put together a really comprehensive response in relation to that letter, and that went in a period of kind of crossing fingers, and HMRC did come back and issued the compliance statement. So the good news story here is it was great. Obviously, the company's thrilled, the founders are thrilled, the investors are absolutely thrilled because of the tax relief. But it now clears the way for them to go for EIS as well in the future and that sort of thing. Obviously, making sure nothing changes in terms of the activities of the company, etc. But I think the lesson here is, if you're a founder, don't necessarily be disheartened if you get a rejection on the advance assurance. Fight your corner, put together a really good, strong, robust response, trying to really spell out why, how and why maybe HMRC got the wrong end of the stick. And they had in this case, and I can understand why they had the suspicions. I think if I was an inspector, I would have had similar initial suspicions, but when you look at the full facts, there was a strong case for the founders, for the company. So absolutely thrilled for them. They're absolutely thrilled, obviously. And I say, the lesson is just don't give up. And I say even to the stage where they went for the compliance statements, so I had to go through that process and get the initial rejection, but to keep fighting on was testament to them. And I think, we put together a really strong case, and absolutely thrilled that HMRC could see that there was a qualifying company for Seed Enterprise Investment Scheme purposes, and a good result overall. So that's the lesson there. Hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching. See you soon.